Hey guys, welcome to the review show. My name's Austin. Conclave stars Ray Fiennes. Cardinal Lawrence is tasked with leading one of the world's most secretive and ancient events, selecting a new pope. He finds himself at the center of a conspiracy that could shake the very foundation of the Catholic Church. I didn't really know much about this movie going in, besides that Ray Fiennes is in it, who I really like from The Menu, and he was decent in that Kingsman spinoff, like the prequel for that movie. He was good in that, even though that movie overall wasn't the greatest. Even though I didn't know much about this movie, I was also hearing a lot of buzz around this movie about it being Oscar worthy. That we're getting in that time of of the year where a lot of the films are going to be started being talked about, like, oh, this is very Oscar worthy, or this actor is very Oscar worthy. I would go as far as to say that I like this movie, but I don't think it's Oscar worthy. I mean, like, I can see it being nominated, but there's a lot of other better films that came out this year that I see winning over this film, or even getting nominated over this film. But with that being said, this movie is really good, but it can be a slow burner. Just to say that right off the bat, not a lot happens in this movie. It's a very simple, complex film where it's contained in this one building, per se, would be the way to say it. The way to say it, this is the way. So this movie follows Cardinal Lawrence, who's played by Ray Fiennes, who finds himself in the situation after the Pope passes away and has died, to find a new Pope. But also there's this conspiracy theory that is going around that someone is rigging this election of this new Pope. He finds himself doing these investigations that could lead to him believing that someone might have had foul play into the death of the Pope, or is simply just trying to rig the election. You don't really get to see that much of this investigation. He doesn't really have any really involvement at all in this investigation. He talks to this one girl later on in the film. He does go off at one point and finds his own evidence. But mostly throughout this whole entire film, he is kind of just focusing on making sure this election goes pretty smoothly and that they find a new pope, while this one guy that basically works for him type of deal, he goes off and off screen does all these researches and digs up all these situations, while other things do happen. There's at some point in the film where someone's past gets involved with them, and that could affect them being elected, and that could have some involvement with the rigging of this election going on, which is all interesting in itself. I really liked all that stuff, but Ray Fiennes kind of just felt like he was just there for the most part, and majority of this film is literally just the election of people, and you just mostly see people writing down on piece of papers throughout this whole entire film, and next throwing it in this bowl. I'm gonna probably upset a lot of Catholics. It's not called a bowl. I'm going to call it a bowl for just simple sakes. They write down on this piece of paper of people that they think should be pope, and I don't know, they write their name. I actually didn't understand how this election worked at all. I didn't understand, because there were people who just write down the same names over and over, whatever. And after a while, that would kind of get boring, while this this mysterious thing would be going on in the background. When everything kind of comes together towards the end, it's kind of anticlimactic in a way, which is fine, because it's kind of somewhat, I guess, a realistic take on this world. It's not this movie isn't supposed to be very thrilling, even though it's called a thriller. I was kind of expecting somewhat of a more bigger build up to something than to what the movie actually did, and which I'm fine with it. But it was leading towards something more that I thought they were going to go to, but they kind of didn't. They decided to go into a different direction that's just slightly kind of less cool. Overall, I did like the movie. The performances were well done. The costumes looked amazing, and they built good tension throughout the film. I just wish there was a little bit better payoff towards the end, or if there was a little bit more of this investigation that we could have seen from Ray Fiennes, instead of it being in the background from this other guy that we could have honestly just really focused on, because there's so much that this guy goes through and digs up that could have been really interesting to see, and maybe there could have been some conflict there. But it was pretty straightforward of you just seeing this election, and every once in a while Ray Fiennes will do his investigation, and that could just be a really slow burn for some people. So that's kind of just something really need to be put out there. I'm gonna give Conclave a B minus. There's things that really I liked about this movie. The performance really held up this movie, and there was good tension throughout the whole entire film. But yeah, that's pretty much my whole entire thoughts on this movie. There's not really that much to give on it. If I say any more, it's just going to lead into spoilers. So let me know your guys' thoughts on Conclave down below if you have seen it or if you have any interest in seeing it. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Like always, I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye, guys.